the plan commission to order at 6:32. Let's see, everybody. Did we call the roll here?
We do not typically.
All right, we have all commissioners
Okay.
are present. And for some reason, so I believe the first thing on our agenda is to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
Any discussion?
There's a typo in our routine.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I sent some teeny tiny things to Crystal and Barb. They're not worth discussing.
Excellent. Yeah, anything that's not substantive, or substantive, that's the word, can be emailed. All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, minutes are approved. We've one item of business on the agenda this evening, and I will hand it over to Bart to present.
Sure. So the item that we have is consideration of a parking special exception to eliminate off-street parking requirements for the conversion of the accessory structure and a portion of the driveway into occupied commercial space for the eating and drinking establishment Camp Bar at 4044 North Oakland Avenue. Item 3A is the overview. I'll provide a brief overview, just summarizing once again what is in your memo. Feel free to ask me questions at the end should I have missed anything, but it's pretty brief. And I should note the applicant is here as well to answer any questions should we have them. Sure. Yep, that is correct. So what we're seeing here is an overview of the proposed site, Camp Bar 4044 Oakland Avenue. The building is in the front. The accessory structure is in the rear. There's a parking area or a former parking area that's been approved as a patio outdoor dining area by the Plan Commission in November. And the site is accessible on the north through a driveway. Project overview: a special exception to remove parking requirements for residential units was granted by the Plan Commission in November of 2023. At that same meeting, a conditional use permit for outdoor dining was approved by the Plan Commission. At that time, full details of the project occupancy was not known until submission of permits for the accessory structure. It was discussed and hinted at within the packet that should those materials come in, an additional special exception would be sought, which is partly why we're here tonight. The plans for the conversion of that accessory structure were approved architecturally by the Design Review Board in January. There were exterior changes to the proposed structure and administratively permitted by occupancy as a accessory use to the existing principal use. Occupancy amendment was therefore submitted on January 30th, subsequent to those approvals. That review of the occupancy amendment confirmed the need for a special exception for the expanded commercial space. As I just noted, the application for special exception to eliminate off-street parking requirements for expanded commercial occupancy has been received. The occupancy is expanding from 2,788 square feet to 5,106 square feet. The outdoor dining patio is roughly 1,200 of that, and the accessory structure would add an additional 1,000. Parking for commercial tenants is required at one space for every 500 square feet over 2,500 square feet. So therefore, 6 spaces would be required with the proposed conversion of this space from parking/storage into occupied commercial space. The applicant within his comments noted that the area has not currently been used by staff or customers for parking, nor was it used by residents at the time of the last review. On-street parking is available. With the approval of these items, no park that would be sought. That would free up 3 additional on-street parking spaces directly in front of the business. Rideshare, bus, bicycle, and pedestrian access are also popular options for people, whether they're coming to work or to dine or drink at the establishment. The renovation, he notes, will make the site more desirable, and similar businesses in Shorewood do not provide off-street parking at the required ratios, or at all for that matter. Staff comments, I do acknowledge it would have been ideal to have one meeting with combined requests. However, it's not uncommon for applicants to pursue approvals in pieces, right, prior to paying for the full cost associated with developing full plans. Architects and things cost money, so it has been brought to us in pieces. As you are familiar, the parking requirements in the village were updated in 2021. Prior to that, commercial parking had been 20 spaces for every 1,000 square feet. So we would have been talking about over 100 parking spaces required. Thankfully, we're not here for an exception of that size. However, the modified requirement is still above the built context. As noted in your packet, there is no off-street parking at Three Lions Pub, Draft and Vessel, Ceviche, and Foxhole. Nearby parking is available at Buttermint in the Metro Market parking structure, although whether or not people use that is not known. There's limited parking spaces available at Harry's and Cloud Red. However, both of those are not defined for customers and employees specifically. And then the Brat House does have a large area of parking behind their building, similar to what Camp currently has, but it's unknown who uses that. It does not believe that customers or correct. It does not believe that customers or employees are maybe employees, but customers definitely are not using that to staff's knowledge. For reference, a similar exception was granted to Fiddleheads in 2020 to allow for the expansion of their outdoor dining north of the property. Neighborhood notice has been provided. One letter of support has been received. I can read it real briefly into the record. It comes from Deborah Sobchak, once again, who was here in November. She is from Eastmore Real Estate and the owner of 1804 East Elmdale Court, which is immediately south of the property. She said that she would like to pass along her support for this project. She's sure her tenants will benefit from it greatly and have full confidence that Paul will build it. Confidence in Paul that it will be quality built and professionally run addition to Camp Bar in the village of Shorewood. No other comments have been received. Review and approval. There are various aspects that the Plan Commission is expected to review and approve with respect to any parking special exception that is being sought. Those are listed in your packet. This is too much to read, obviously, so I will just move off of the slide. I can bring it back if necessary. With that, I will stop sharing my screen and turn it back over to President McKeag for public comment. Oh, sure.
Mr. Kuda or Trustee Kuda?
Well,
Aaron?
what is the, I can't recall now, what is the length of, how long does this special exception last for? Like, if he sold the building or if it turned into something else, once we.
It would run with the occupancy. So the occupancy of Camp Bar, if that were to expire and not be reoccupied within 12 months, the new applicant or the new occupant would need to comply with the code. So similar to a conditional use permit, should Camp Bar close, that conditional use permit for the outdoor dining will stay with the property for that 12-month period. If reoccupied under the same conditions, it would continue to the next tenant. But conditional use special exception, if the occupancy closes or is amended or is not there for 12 months, the next applicant would have to seek similar consideration.
Before the design review board, they made sure that had that whatever requirements we put in place for the commercial lighting code and, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Correct. The design review board reviewed the packet fully. There was cut sheets. I didn't include all of them because I think it was an additional 35 plus pages. But they did have cut sheets of all of the individual light fixtures. And they did, yes, take that into effect in their consideration. No one is online. No one's asked to join. I hope I'm not missing something, but
Okay. Is here this evening. So I would close public comment and I would move on to deliberation. And certainly if anyone has questions of the applicant. Yes.
I'm ready.
What to do?
I move to approve the parking special exception to not provide 6 off-street parking spaces associated with a change in use classification for the expanded commercial tenant space at 4044 North Oakland Avenue, based on meeting condition statement 535-3G. Second.
Yeah. You think you can?
Yeah.
All right, so that's very good. All right, motion by trustee Kudo, seconded by Commissioner Pollock. Any discussion? Yeah, I'd largely see this as housekeeping because of the way that our code is written, so. But I also think it makes sense to get the first and then take care of the second, so. All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. And, that concludes,
Item 3, correct.
yeah. Future agenda items.
Yeah, so as I mentioned back in January, I will at some point bring back to you a discussion of your annual report from 2023, as well as your future initiatives. The board is expected to see those, I believe, in June, and so we still have time on that. I also noted to President McKeag that I owe you all a 1-year review of the commercial zoning update. With respect to that, I do as staff have various kind of like little things that I've identified that we could potentially tweak. If you as plan commissioners or other people are aware of that as well, but I didn't want to rush it onto this agenda just because I didn't realize it until like 2 weeks ago and I thought I needed some time for that. So President McKeag gave me the grace of allowing additional time on that. So I hope to bring both of those items back to you March, April, May, sometime in there so we can have those discussions. April, May.
Yeah. Educational workshop. When there is an update, we will reconvene. But there is no update in terms of anything, any action of the village.
Yeah, and I do believe Village Manager Ewald is thinking of that with the CDA and Plan Commission again to keep that conversation going. I just don't know what time that is, but I do expect that there will be one.
Yeah, whether, thank you for, certainly invited. We are going to convene the village board and the school board, full boards together on March 14th, I believe it is. And Willie Smith
Yep.
is Williamson is gonna give a presentation of about how cost of housing, the intersection of cost of housing and school enrollment, and those two kind of moving targets. And so that would be an educational opportunity as well. But there are no decisions before the CDA or village board at this time related to affordable housing. Yes.
Hi, I know you, village board hasn't gotten there yet, but when you make a final determination about where the DPW should live, I assume that if there's any other use than it's currently zoned for, you'll come before us.
Yeah, that's why we
discuss
had that
Yeah,
meeting. Indeed, and that has not been on the village board agenda.
Eventual zoning update would be after affordability board with review or, you know?
Future initiatives include a review of the residential code with respect to adding more options within the residential district, such as accessory dwelling units. So yes, when we get to that in April or May, we can discuss that further.
got enough agents in the community as to their views about anything we can do that might work towards affordability, you know, since it is a larger market. Yeah. I'd be really great to hear their views.
Out of scope now, thinking about future agenda.
Yeah.
items. However, I think that's a great touch point with a stakeholder group. So if you want to email, so we have that on record as a suggestion. I'm not sure at what point it would come into, but certainly those stakeholders are always involved, welcome to participate. All right.
Really fast.
Motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned at 6:45.
I don't think that's our